So Dave Ramsey and I are definitely on the outs. After that tweet, I lost my mind. And you know the tweet I'm talking about. The one that said, wait until you have a net worth of $1 million before you buy a car. He was right about one thing though. If purchasing a home in 2022 is one of your top goals, then you need to do some of these things right now. Some, all, one, you need to do them right now, today. Hey everybody, my name is Jessica Dorsey and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about how to go about buying a home in 2022. Now, the first thing that you're gonna have to do, and I know, you're gonna hate it, but the reality is you have to do it. And this is the thing that Dave was right about. You have to
budget and you have to save.
I think a lot of people start thinking about that down payment money and they do not even consider the closing costs. Now, I've pretty much just squashed the idea. All of my subscribers should know that you don't need 20% down to buy a house. You can buy with 0% down, with 3% down, 3.5% down, 10, 15, whatever. You don't need 20% down to buy a house. But what people fail to consider is the amount of money you need to handle your closing costs. So when I say you don't need 20% down that you can buy with 3% down, that's not all the money that you need. You are going to need an additional 3 to 5% of your purchase price in order to close. You also then need a little bit of money set aside to pay for your inspection and appraisal. Appraisal sometimes can get lumped into your closing costs, but regardless, you're going to need to save for that. So let's say that you have your eye on a $300,000 home. So that's awesome. For this example, we're going to say that you can buy with 3% down. You got in on a conventional loan, 3% down, that's great. You need to know that of that $9,000 that's going to be your down payment, you need to be liquid enough to be able to write a check for 1% of the purchase price within 72 hours of going under contract. So that's $3,000 that you need to be able to write a check for, and it needs to be able to clear, because that earnest money check is essentially your deposit on the home. It will go towards your down payment in the future, but the title company is gonna cash that check. So make sure that you're liquid enough to write that check. After that, I kind of say that $1,000 for inspection and your appraisal cost is pretty adequate to get most people to the closing table with that. And then you're gonna have your closing costs, which can be 3 to 5%. For this example, let's say it's 5%. Easy math there. That's going to be $15,000 that you need in cash to close. That is in addition to your 3% down payment. So if you're looking at a $300,000 house, you're going to need $25,000 in order to close. I think it's awesome that you can get into a house at that sales price. $25,000 is not easy to come by. So you got to budget and you got to save. And if 2022 is not the year that you think that you can save that much, that's okay, but you got to start somewhere, you know? If 2023, 2024, gosh, these feel like fake numbers to me. If those are the years that you're going to buy, start now so that you can start saving. We can get into a discussion about if $25,000 is sufficient for you to then become a homeowner. I'm kind of the opinion that I would not want you to completely drain your savings, because you're the landlord now. If that furnace goes out, or if a neighborhood kid pelts a baseball through your window, you're the one that's going to be responsible for fixing those things. Home upkeep and repair is not a cheap endeavor, so I would want you to save probably $30,000 at that $300,000 price point, just so that you have some savings to fall back on. Second thing that I want you to do if you are wanting to buy a home is to boost that credit score. Now, you don't need a perfect credit score to buy. Lenders will often lend to people at a 620 credit score. They can be talked into a 580 score, but if you have a 580 or lower score, you really need to do some soul searching in deciding if purchasing is ultimately right for you right now. I would argue that it might not be, but everyone is in their own situation and you are in charge of your own life. So if you feel like you still want to buy at that score, go for it. All I'm saying is you can purchase at a 620. Don't let a low credit score deter you from buying a home. That being said, the higher your credit score, oftentimes the lower your interest rate and the higher purchasing power you'll ultimately get approved for. So if you find that you want to kind of up your credit score a bit, there are a couple of things that you can do. Number one, pay on time. Even if it's only the minimum, who cares? Even if it's the minimum, pay it on time. If you are finding that you're having a hard time paying on time, what you can do is make tiny little micro payments every week towards your credit card. So it's helpful to do $10 a week is going to just automatically go towards your credit. Then hopefully by that time you've hit your minimum payment and you've paid on time. If you don't pay your cards on time, it can really hurt you. It's not going to matter what other strategies you're implementing in order to boost your credit score, because late payments can stay on your credit report for 7.5 years. Ugh, you make one mistake and it follows you for 7.5 years. But just keep that in mind as you're working to better your score. Lenders are 100% going to see how many times you've been late in the last decade. Second thing you can try to do to boost your score is to really try to keep your credit usage below 30%. People who tend to get the best interest rates and things keep their credit usage below 7%. So slowly paying off all of that, you're gonna chip away at your credit usage, but keeping it under 30% is a good rule of thumb as you're trying to boost your score. The third thing that you can do, if you find an error on your credit report, dispute it. Dispute it immediately, because this is something that I think everyone can pay more attention to their credit and all of that. We really should all be checking our bank accounts and statements and all of those things every day. Who knows what could happen? You could catch something before your credit agency does, but if you find an error, you need to dispute it. You don't want something to take you out of the purchasing game when it's not even your fault. The third thing I need you to do if you're thinking about purchasing is to pay attention to your DTI. What is DTI? DTI is debt to income ratio. So the lenders are definitely gonna take a look at this. FHA and conventional loans are a little bit different here on what they allow an acceptable DTI ratio to be. FHA is gonna be 42% or lower, and a conventional loan, they're gonna wanna see 36% or lower. So you can calculate your DTI before you even sit down with a lender to see if you're within that window. You want to take a look at all of your debts: student loans, car payments, credit card payments, child support, alimony, anything like that you have to pay every month. You need to look at the minimum amount that you have to pay every month, and you're going to divide that by your gross income. Gross income is before any taxes or anything is taken out, not your net income. You want to make sure that you have your gross income. So debts divided by your income is going to give you that percentage. So if you're sitting around 50%, you just got to pay some of your debt off. If that means making an extra payment every month towards one thing, that could significantly help you lower your DTI. I would suggest figuring out what your ratio is before you even go and sit down with a lender, because the lenders are going to check your credit. It's going to be a hard check. It's going to lower your number for a bit. So if you are at a 50%, you know right off the bat it's going to be pretty hard for you right now to qualify for a loan. Why risk getting a lower credit score when you know that you just have a little bit of work to do? And the fourth thing I want you to do is to assemble a rock star team. That includes your real estate agent and your lender. And I get asked a lot if it matters who you meet first when you're starting out on this journey. The answer is no. A real estate agent is gonna have some recommended lenders for you, and a lender oftentimes will have a real estate agent that they've worked with in the past. I know this makes people a little bit nervous about well, you're just recommending this person because you probably get some sort of kickback or something and it's not really in my best interest. Know that that is 100% illegal. Agents and lenders are not allowed to receive kickbacks from each other in order to recommend services. So don't let that freak you out. I know the lenders that I recommend, I have closed deals with them, and they are people that I trust to do a good job. I have a good communication rapport with them. But ultimately, you need to be the one that's comfortable with the team that you are assembling. I always suggest that you need to interview multiple lenders and multiple agents. I know it's starting to be a thing where people find an agent and they're like, okay, you're fine. Or they find a lender and think that, okay, the job is done. No, you need to interview people to find out who you're comfortable with. Buying a home is a huge emotional, financial, mental decision, and you need to make sure that you're 100% comfortable with the team that you have assembled. So if you're not getting all of the green lights with people that you're interviewing, keep interviewing other people. You should be able to talk to the people that are on your team easily, be able to feel comfortable asking them questions. And if you don't, that is a red flag to me. Buying a home is stressful enough. You don't need to be stressed out that you're not able to ask a question of your agent or your lender. It's just a no-go for me. If you are thinking about buying a home in 2022 within the first quarter, now would be a good time to start getting pre-approved. You have to be pre-approved in order to start searching for homes. I'm sorry, there's no other way around that. I think what people forget is that when they just want to go look at something, they forget that somebody lives in that house and you're a stranger to them. It's not like just walking into a store to pick out something that you want. Somebody is living in the house that you want to see. And they're allowing a lot of strangers to come in, and so they are relying on agents and lenders to vet the people that they are going to allow into their home. So keep that in mind as you're beginning this home buying journey, that you are a stranger to the sellers. They don't know you. They need to know that you have been vetted and that you can actually buy the home that they're selling. So getting pre-approved is nobody's trick to try to ruin your credit score or anything like that. It really is ultimately to help you be able to buy the house. Especially in this market right now, getting pre-approved can take 48 hours to 2 weeks. So you have to have documents and all of that to be actually pre-approved. And there's a difference between being pre-approved and pre-qualified. You want to get pre-approved. You want to give all the documents to the lender and make sure that you have the buying power that you think you have. That being said, in this market, even 48 hours to get pre-approved, if you find the house of your dreams and you want to write an offer on it, you got to have a pre-approval letter that accompanies that offer. And if you haven't been pre-approved, there's no way you're going to get the house. Because there's too many other buyers who have been pre-approved and their agent submitted their pre-approval letter with their offer, and the deadline for acceptance is going to pass by the time you've even been pre-approved. So if you're looking to buy in the first quarter, I would suggest starting to interview lenders and agents now so that you're ready to go when it's time. And those pre-approvals can last 60 to 90 days, and then it's a pretty easy process if for whatever reason you haven't found anything in that time to then get pre-approved. So that is the video for today, guys. If you have any questions, please email me at homeagain@jessicadorsey.com. Feel free to shoot me a text or give me a call at 970-692-3573, and I would be happy to answer any questions. If you're in Colorado, I'd be happy to interview to be your agent. If not, I do know a lot of different agents in a lot of different states that I can put you in touch with to interview them as well to see if you guys are a good fit. So I hope you guys have a great day. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see everybody next week.